Hey, shalom, everyone. Shalom. I'm I am responding to a debate that was held in Phoenix, Arizona, between Prophecy Ministries and the Israel of God there in Phoenix. Okay, you can search that out if you want to. It was held yesterday on what's today? Today is the 20th. So that was on the 19th. Okay. And I was watching it. I was like, wow, man, I wish I was there doing this debate. I could probably share some real good food for thought for that. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to try to make this as short as possible, but it's probably not going to be short because I have a lot to share. So I want you all to bear with me as I try to bring some edification toward this. Okay. In the beginning of the debate, Prophecy Ministry spoke in regarding the name. So that's what they were dealing with, the name. They used the name Yahweh, which they regard as the way that the Yod He Wah Shin Ayin was pronounced back during the Paleo time. And I maintain that Hebrew is a language that has evolved from the time that Eber, the great grandson of Shem, spoke the language, especially through the time that Israel were dwelling among the Canaanites. They were dwelling among the Egyptians, and all the way up to the time of the Messiah 2,000 years ago. There has, as all languages do, they evolve according to time and according to region. Okay, that's common in all languages. Okay, so one thing is for sure that none of us have ever heard how Yod He Wah Shin Ayin was pronounced way back in the day, okay, in any of those periods, from Eber period, from Abraham period, from Moses period, all the way up to the so-called New Testament time, the time of the so-called New Testament, okay? So therefore, I have no problem with how anybody pronounce Yod He Wah Shin Ayin, because these are consonants and people put in vowels according to whatever, Yahoshua, Yahshua, Yeshua, all of these, Yahweh. I don't get into a specific way that those letters were pronounced, because none of us have ever heard nobody from 300 years old back pronounce that name, okay? One thing for sure, though, is that the name Jesus have no part in that matter, because the brother explained about transliteration, the difference between transliteration and translation. I'm going to throw in something else on top of that, because what he said was correct. But here's the thing that was missing. Transliteration is referring to the written way that a person of another language would write the words that were originated from another language. So let me just throw this out here, that if Jesus was exactly the transliteration from letter to character, from the Hebrew to the English, which we know it's not, because the problem is that when people say I speak English, well, if you're talking about a Hebrew personage, it should not be Hebrew to Greek to English. It should be Hebrew to English if you're going to get a proper transliteration of the name. Selah on that point for a second, because what happened is that when the Greeks attempted to transliterate the name, they didn't transliterate it at all. It was more so according to their translation, not transliteration, because they gave us Iezus, Iezus. And a lot of Hebrews even may not want to believe this, but the Greek deity Zeus was the what they put into the name that makes it that. It's not a transliteration. Okay. Now, if you want to know what the Greek transliteration of Yod He Wah Shin Ayin is, then I offer this up here in the 1611 KJV, and I'm just throwing this out here. Research it on your own. This is the 1611 KJV. One very interesting thing that they put in here is in Hebrews, the 4th chapter, the 8th verse. It says this. I'm going to show you something. And if I can't hold it up to the camera, forgive me. Just find somebody with the 1611 KJV, and they will confirm this to you, okay? But bear with me one moment, because my book is kind of all over the place. Okay, I'm in the book of Hebrews. In the book of Hebrews, the 4th chapter and the 4th chapter and the 8th verse, it reads this. It says, for if Yahshua had given them rest, then he would not afterwards have spoken of another day. Now, just like they righteously brought up Acts 7, chapter 44th and 45th verse, where it says Jesus in the KJV, it's not talking about the Messiah in that passage. It's talking about Yahshua, the son of Nun. And I love that, because when you try to give them that Acts 7:45 verse, say, explain what that's talking about, reading it out of the KJV, you have no idea what that verse is saying. But when you put the right name in that verse, you will be able to see. Matter of fact, it's 2 words that you have to take out or replace. And that's take out the Jesus, put Yahshua there. And then you take out the word Gentiles and put the word Canaanites in. Okay, so when you do that, you will then be able to understand what that verse is saying. But here in Hebrews 4 and 8, it's the same thing. It reads Jesus there, but it was talking about Yahshua, the son of Nun. Now, let me see if I can hold this up so you can see this. Up at the right corner of the page, it says that is Yahshua. But let me show you how it's spelled, if you can see it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. You won't be able to see it. And what I'm talking about is right up here. And my phone is not going to allow you to see it. But it's spelled, this is how it's spelled. It's spelled IOSUAH. IOSUAH. What is that? That is the Greek transliteration of Yahshua. because the Greek don't have a Y, but it gives us the iota, I. Then the next letter is Omicron, O. And then it gives us a S, sigma, S. The Greek don't have a sh sound. Therefore, it can't give us the H after the S. So it just simply gives you the S. And the S is not a zeta with the Z sound, because in the name Jesus, that middle S is a Z sound. Because again, it's Zeus, Zeus. Even in Jesus, it's a Z sound. Look it up phonetically and you will see it Jezes phonetically. Okay? So a lot of people reject the whole dynamic of the Zeus, but you could plainly see that that's what the Greeks did when they translated the name. And why do I say that? Well, one thing is that whenever we were held in captive to another nation, they always took our names that had the Father name in our names, the Yah of Isaiah, Jeremiah, Zedekiah, Elijah, all those names, and they changed the names like they did in Egyptian with Yosef, whose name means Yah shall add. That's what Yosef means. Yah shall add. And the Egyptian Pharaoh gave him the name Zaratha Pathaniah. In the Babylon captivity, you had Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Hananiah, Yah has shown mercy. Mishael, who is like unto Elohim, and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. Yah is my strength, Azariah. And then the fourth is Daniel. Elohim is my judge. So as Hebrews, we had El in our names, Elohim or Yah. And the four characters, two of them had Yah, and the other two had El for El or Elohim in their names. But their names were replaced by names that reflected Babylonian deities, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And Daniel was named after, as Nebuchadnezzar says, he was named after my God, Belteshazzar. When we get into the Medo-Persian Empire, you find out that the sister Hadassah, her name was changed to the pagan goddess of fertility, Esther, or we say Easter, but her name was changed to that. Okay, it's in the second chapter of Esther. Go read that. You got Mordecai, who I don't know what his actual name was, but by the time he got to the Medo-Persian dynamic, his name was changed to Mordecai, which means Marduk lives. Mordecai, Marduk lives. Marduk was one of the Persian deities. Okay. So in the Greek Empire, again, that's where we have Zeus come from. But Zeus it's neither transliterated nor translated from Yahshua. If the Greeks wanted to transliterate the name, and here's something else before I forget it. Because we know that transliteration is the written dynamic, not the spoken dynamic, the written dynamic. That's where it confuses people. If the transliteration of Yahshua in English was Jesus, it wouldn't be pronounced Jesus. That name of Jesus would be made up because you're are saying it from a so-called transliteration of JESUS. You copy it, but see, it's not JESUS. But you would look at whatever the transliterated name is showing in front of your face, and you would pronounce it the way it's pronounced originally, which is Yahshua, because it's only written in the characters of another language. You wouldn't say it like the way you would read it, because here, when I saw this in the 1611 KJV as a good example, and I looked up there, it says this is IOSUAH. The very first time I saw that, I said Iosua, Iosua, because that's what I saw. But then I'm like, wait a minute, it's not Iosua. I'm only reading it because I'm trying to read it in IOSUAH, but it's not Iosua, it's Yahshua. So that's why we got to be careful in understanding that the characterization of IOSUAH was the closest that they could transliterate the Hebrew Yod He Wah Shin Ayin. And so again, I say Yahshua. If other people pronounce Yod He Shin Ayin and say Yahoshua, Yahushua, Yasha, as long as you are giving us the Yod He Wah Shin Ayin, those the Hebrew characters of that name, that I don't have no problem with it, because I never heard somebody 2,000 years ago say that name. But I would absolutely be willing to bet that the way it was pronounced 2,000 years ago with Yahshua was not the way it was actually pronounced in Yahshua, the son of Nun time. Because again, there's an evolution in the phonetics of a language. It is. That's just plain history. Hey, Shalom, Victoria. Glad you came on here. I am responding just in case you didn't get the beginning of this. Yesterday, there was a debate in Arizona between Prophecy Ministries and IOG, Israel of God. And they wanted to debate the name. And then another part of that main debate, which I'm about to bring, is the covenant, the new covenant. Are we in the new covenant? Are we not in the new covenant? Okay. But right now, I'm focused on the name. All right. All right. Whew. Now, I'm going to share passages that IOG shared. And see, one thing about a debate, if I debate somebody, I'm going to directly deal with what my opposition is bringing. I'm not just going to automatically just go somewhere else. I have to address them with what they're bringing, because either what they bought was a valid point, was correct, or maybe not. But if I'm seesawing and you bring these scriptures and this is your point, but I'm going to bring some other scriptures to the point, then it's not really edifying debate. But when I can go to where you went to and bring some clarity to it, now there's edification. So this was brought up, John 19, chapter 17 verse, okay? And for those that don't know, I used to be a part of Israel of God I'm old school, way back in the day. I was a part of IOG from 88 to 97. And 97, I joined with Brother Elisha, and was a founding member of Israel, the Church of Jesus. When the doors first opened up, I was there. Matter of fact, at that time I moved my family from Chicago to Gary, Indiana. I lived right up the street from where the class was first opened up on 36th and Broadway. Just so you will know my pedigree. Not that it's important, but I want you to understand that I'm just not some fly-by-night Hebrew that just trying to share some things, okay? But anyway, John, the 19th chapter and the 17th verse, this is what Israel of God bought to try to prove that it was Jesus, okay? So what it says here, it says at 16th verse, then delivered he him therefore unto them to be crucified. And they took Yahshua. One thing about what I teach in our congregation is that we have to read and understand what we're reading from a historical context. Historical context. And that's one of the problems that I had with Prophecy Ministries, that they kept calling him Jesus after making a point that his name couldn't be Jesus. There is a fine line between trying to accommodate other people or just bring the raw and uncut truth. I cannot frame my mouth to call him by a name that historically he was never called. Never called. Never even heard such a name. Jesus. Not even Jesus. No, nobody was calling him that either. They called him Yahshua. While I'm speaking about that, and again, I was there. I said these stupid things. Well, I speak English. Therefore, I will stop it. Because here's the truth concerning that. Names transcends language. Names transcends language. Let's prove that. You have Barack Hussein Obama. Where's the English in Barack Hussein Obama? In my Cat Williams voice, I'll wait. Saddam Hussein. What's the name of that other guy that was big during the time of 911? Which one am I missing? Oh, I can't remember his name. But any of these cats' names, if I call out their names, so I say, hey, man, you seen what they did with Saddam Hussein? Who listens to my statement and say, man, brother, I didn't know you could speak Arabic. Huh? But we say Yahshua. We say Yahshua. And then somebody get caught up in, oh, brother, you speak Hebrew? You see how dumb that sounds? Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Right. I told her. Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Where's the English in that? Where's the English transliteration of Osama? Because I don't speak Arabic, so I can't call him by that name. Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. Oh, man, I must speak good Russian, right? I could call out German names. I could call out Chinese names, Japanese names. Doesn't make me a scholar in their language. We call people and things, places, whatever, by the name that they're known by, whether they are English or otherwise. So when we say, oh, I speak English, whatever you say, and not only is that stupid, but Jesus is not even English. It was 1996. I had been in this truth for for 8 years at this time, 8 years, and joined myself to IOG, Israel of God, Chicago. Because I was working on the west side and I happened to have had to go to work on this Shabbat, went to visit a class on the west side of Chicago because I was closer to it because I didn't have the time to go all the way back to the south side. Class on the west. Class that my good aunt, Moreh Nuriyahu, he was a teacher at this class. I didn't know that he wasn't going to be there that day because he was actually away. This was his first trip to Israel that he went to, okay? And that's a whole nother lesson. Okay? But anyway, I went there and I noticed that they were saying Yah and Yahshua. I'm like, oh, wow. Now, it wasn't like I never knew what Yah and Yahshua was. I know what as we say, Hebrew names, forget Hebrew. I know what the proper names of the Father and Son is. Okay, I knew that. But at that time, I was taught to think of it as Hebrew names. First mistake. Come out of the class. And there was a brother came up to me, and I wish I wouldn't know who this brother was if he walked right in front of me, but that's the way that the Father works sometimes. But praise Yah, I absolutely honor this brother because he said, hey, brother, hey, how'd you enjoy class? I'm like, oh, man, class was interesting. But I felt the need to volunteer this information. I noticed that y'all say Yah, Yahshua, and that's cool, but I speak English. So, I say Jesus, Jesus and whatever else I said, Jesus and Lord God or whatever. And the brother said, man, brother, Jesus ain't even English. When he said that, I was stunned. Because one thing about me then, as well as right now, I don't try to offer up some stupid comment just to try to save face. Because I'm absolutely am a student of truth. Even now, even in all these years, I'm still a student and I'm still learning, even on doing our Shabbat class at the Spirit of YAH, because nobody has a monopoly on this truth, but you have to be able to be swift to hear and slow to speak. And this is the first time somebody ever said these words to me. Jesus ain't even English. I'm like, really? Oh, wow. I said, well, tell me then, what would be the English translation? I wasn't smart enough to really know about translation and transliteration. So the only word I could think of was translation. What would be the English translation of Yahshua if Jesus ain't it? Brother said, I'm kind of paraphrasing. He said, well, brother, the thing is that there don't have to be an English translation, as I just proved with the examples I gave, right? But that's what he said. It don't have to be an English translation because the truth of the matter is, and I'm kind of adding to what he said, it's that Yahshua is spelled with English letters. So why do it have to be a transliteration? If I was looking at the characters of Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin, now I'm looking at these strange Hebrew characters, there's no way I can read that. So I need a transliteration of Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin. And so he said that that those are English letters you're reading there, YAHSHUA or whatever. It doesn't require. But If you want to say English, whatever, then Joshua is the closest thing that English say to Yahshua. Both names mean the same thing, Yah saves, or Yah is salvation. Joshua happens to be in the top 10 of one of the top 10 boy names in English, Joshua. Joshua. And this is what he told me there. And from that day, and again, this is pre-internet, okay? Pre-internet. Well, I had to go to libraries and bookstores to get the information I needed. And that's what I did. That's what I did. I did not dismiss this brother's words because he is of a different congregation. And my congregation is absolutely the end all be all of all knowledge and understanding. So when you come and say something contrary to what we teach, then I'm just going to dismiss you. Very, very, very problematic. I never had that belief then, and I don't have that belief now. Okay? That is not a humble way of dealing with the word of Yah. It's not no humility in that. And I'm going to say this. There's a lot of pride in the way that Israel of God teachers come across. Very prideful. And I've seen this years ago. Years ago. Very prideful. Anyway, hey, shalom, Wanda. My sister, glad you came on. And you can't really get nowhere with that pride. That's an abominable spirit to have from the Most High, okay? Be it as it may, that started my journey for truth. And so therefore, I accepted the Messiah's name is Yahshua. Yah saves, Yah is salvation. Okay, there's a whole, I will be like 2-3 solid hours on this name with the information that I got. And I will take you to a place that some of y'all ain't quite ready for. So I'm just going to try to leave it within the context of what was shared in the debate, okay? Anyway, going back to this John 19 and 17, 19th chapter, it says, 19 verse 18, when they crucified him and 2 others with him on either side and Yahshua in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was Yahshua of Nazareth, the King of the Yahudi, or the Jews. This title then read many of the Yahudi, for the place where Yahshua was crucified was near to the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. First of all, the language that it wasn't written in was English. Yeah, it wasn't written in English. It was first written in Hebrew. If it was written in Hebrew, that means that on that sign, you saw the characters of Yod, Hey, Wah, Shin, Ayin. That's what you would have saw if his name was there written in Hebrew. And then in the Greek, you would have saw iota, omicron, sigma, upsilon, I think, aleph. I'm not aleph, alpha. Something similar to that, because it would have been the matching characters to Yahshua in the Greek. And then it would have been the matching characters in Latin. There would not have been an Iesus, Iosus, or anything like that up on that sign. First name on that sign would have been Yod-Hey Sheen, Yod-Hey Wah Sheen Ayin, and then you would have saw the corresponding characters of the other languages right next to that. That's what you would have saw. No Jesus, no Jesus, none of that would have been on that sign, because this is how transliteration works, matching the characters from the other language. And again, for those that came late, transliteration is written, not pronounced, but written. How do you transliterate it? By the written word. So therefore, again, that's the reason why I made the statement that if the transliteration would have been Jesus, which that would have been impossible, the pronunciation of Jesus would have been Yahshua. Simple as that. I am so tempted to go into my favorite, and those from the Spirit of YAH know where I'm going with this, but I'm not going to do it to them right now. They can see that in our other lessons, though. But I am so tempted to make that distinction between the character of Jesus and Yahshua, but that is too much meat for this video, so I'll just leave it with the transliteration and that part of the Yahshua Jesus dynamic, okay? But anyway, there's John 19. And now let's go into, because they share Malachi, first chapter. Ooh, when I saw them do that, I was like, oh boy, do I wish I was there. Well, guess what? I wasn't there, but I'm here. Jill Scott, I'm right here. And let's read that. Malachi, first chapter. Forgive me, y'all, I just got off work, so I'm a little bit out of it a little bit. Malachi, the first chapter. What in the world did he bring that up for? Malachi, the first chapter. Let's see what we can get out of that. Malachi, first chapter. Let me go right to it. Malachi, first chapter and 11 verse. Well, see, brother, look at this verse right here, bro. It says, for from the rising of the sun, even unto the going down of the same, my name shall be great among the Gentiles. Bro, you tell me, what name is great among the Gentiles? I don't see no Gentiles talking about some Yahshua this or Yahshua that, whatever. The name that is great among the Gentiles, my brother, is Jesus. Ooh, praise. Wait a minute. And in every place incense shall be offered unto my name, and a pure offering. For my name shall be great among the heathen, says Yahuwah of hosts. The problem with that interpretation of your interpretation of that verse is that you're not reading it from a historical dynamic, and you're not even reading it from a prophetic dynamic. If you're going to say it's Jesus first and foremost, then that means that the Gentiles that is worshiping. I have to say worshiping because the Father speaking right here, and he says, my name is. But y'all believe that the Father's name is Jesus. So therefore, if the Gentiles are worshiping Jesus in the way that you think, then they wouldn't be doing Sunday worship in Jesus' name. They wouldn't be doing Christmas, Easter. They wouldn't be eating abominations. They would not be transgressing the laws of the true Father in this book. in Jesus' name. Now, historically, let's look at this from historical context. Jesus came from them. Jesus did not come from you. And for all you scholars that want to say, "Well, see, brother, you're wrong because the Mesoterics or whatever, when they was translated, no, my brother, because if there was righteous Hebrews literally transliterating this, then you would have saw nothing else without the influence of Greek rulership, Greek domination. When we were on those slave ships historically, we saw the first time we saw that Jesus was on the side of that ship, on the ship that carried us over here. The good ship, Jesus. When we got off the ship, there's a priest standing there doing the little things that he do as we coming up off the boat. And then he give us the blessings of the hominis, dominus, requiem, whatever, in the name of Jesus. And we like, wow. And he shows us the image. And again, I'm trying not to give y'all too much with this, but those images that we see, guess what? That's Jesus. I got to do it. I have to do it. Let me throw two passages out there for you, and you take them and do what you want with them, okay? I'm just going to throw that out there. Whew. Jeremiah 2:11. And if anybody that knows me is cracking up, they like, bro, that brother couldn't resist. Jeremiah 2:11 reads, "Have a nation changed their gods? But my people have changed their glory to," and I'm paraphrasing it because I didn't turn to read it, but what important is that the question, have a nation changed their gods? Guess what? To this day, the nations have not changed their gods. You better learn who the real Jesus is, because we wasn't given Jesus. Our Hamashiach, Messiah, from 2,000 years ago name was Yahshua, and he had his father's name in him, which is Yah is salvation. And wasn't no Jesus, Jesus, whatever. Latinos, the Latin O's, since we want Latin, they still to this day call him Jesus. You know why? Because they have not changed their God. That Jesus was around way before Yahshua came in the flesh, because they have not changed their gods. They celebrate his birthday, December 25th. Yahshua's birthday? Oh, no. Jesus' birthday? Oh, absolutely. That's who they worship on the first day of the week. That's all the stuff that is taught under Zeus worship is modern day Christianity. Oh, have a nation change their gods? Oh, brother, that ain't what that means. That's not what, okay, well, let me throw in a second witness for you in a passage that all of us are very familiar with, yet very few of us thought about. Oh, I have to read this. I ain't even going to paraphrase it. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter and the 64th verse. Let's go. "And Yahuwah shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone." That old doctrine was, see, brother, the wood represents the cross. The stone represents that black. No, no, no. Neither the cross nor that black stone are the God. The gods are the ones that come in the form of a man, Jesus. All of those images that you see are the images that are being worshiped, first the name and the image, in the lands that we have been carried captive, and they're all configured in wood and stone. Wood and stone. These heathens ain't specifically worshiping a cross or a black stone. No, they worship Jesus. When we were on the plantations, that's what they were teaching us about, Jesus. And y'all will paraphrase 2 Corinthians 11 chapter, was that if, I think it starts off with, if there be another Jesus. Well, bro, that's another Jesus. No, no, no. Paul was giving you hypothetics. He didn't say this is what's going to happen. And no, we read in Deuteronomy 28, what we read in Deuteronomy 28, 64 verse was not hypothetical. There ain't no if there. Understand what you're reading when you're reading and stop making dumb doctrines out of it. When we came into America or any of these countries that we were scattered in, when they gave us their God, their name and its image, the only thing we should have known in deference to what we read or in reference to what we read here is that that's not Yah. That's not Yah they giving us. But we're foolish. All the Christian church got everything wrong, but the only thing they got right is the name Jesus. Not as much. Not as much. I got so much on that, but you know what though? Oh, let me go back to Malachi. I didn't finish the point. Malachi, where was we at? I was making a point that them Gentiles will be worshiping in truth if that's what that passage was talking about, but it's not what it's talking about because that's not what the Gentiles do. Have a nation change their God? No, they have not changed their God. But here it says again, for from the rising of the sun even until the going down of the same, my name shall. Why? I'm not going to ask why. But when y'all read that, y'all thought shall was present tense. Now, guess what? We still looking forward to the shall. We haven't gotten to that shall yet. And I'm going to show you why we haven't gotten to the shall yet. My name shall be great among the Gentiles. His true name is something else among the Gentiles. Let's skip down to verse 14. And the brother started to read the 14th verse of Prophecy Ministries, but he stopped in the middle of it. And he didn't get down to the coup de grace. That's French. Verse 14, but cursed be the deceiver which having his flock of male and vowed and sacrificed unto Yahuwah a corrupt thing. For I am a great king, says Yahuwah of hosts, and my name is, not shall, is dreadful among the heathen. Jesus can't be dreadful among the heathen because they're the ones that gave us that name. They're the ones that taught us the name of their God. But Yahuwah, Yahshua? And this is the sick part of it. You call yourself an Israelite, but you will diss the fathers and sons' actual name for something that the heathens came up with. Here's the thing, y'all. I think one of the problems is that we look at this book called the Holy Bible, and we think that this was written with the hand of Yah, but it's, in all honesty, an English transliteration. And I will go even deeper than that, because from Genesis to Malachi, specifically, what everybody else called the Old Testament, and on that note too, testament is not covenant. Testament by definition means a book, a record, a testimony, not an oath, not nothing. It's just meaning that it's a record. That's what a testament is. But a covenant, and this is a good segue into the next topic, the covenant part is the oath, the vow, the promise, two altogether different words. Two altogether different words. Come on. On that note, are we under the New Testament or are we not under the New Testament? And here's what's problematic. I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. But, hey, whoever can receive it, awesome. Because we put stock into this whole collection without understanding, we like to think that everything in the Bible is on one accord. I can pretty much believe that in what we call the Old Testament and the prophets, they were all on one accord because they spoke of covenant, the law, statutes of the Most High. They all spoke in unison with that, even in their prophecies, which we are about to read. But in the New Testament writings, not as much. And some of you all cannot receive that, and that's fine. But again, we read all of this from a historical context, not from a 2024 context, but from the context of what was going on when it was absolutely written. Now, the only reason why I'm saying that, and I can get real deep in that in the book of Hebrews was simply a letter written by whoever wrote it. Some say it was written by Paul, and some say, no, it wasn't written by Paul because of the style or whatever. People have theories about the book of Hebrews specifically. But in the book of Hebrews, they try to tie in a lot of the sacrifice of Yahshua and the covenant, making that be a new covenant. In order to have the true understanding of what that's all about, you have to go into the prophets and read it and line it up. Yahshua has one particular reference in the prophecies that pertain to the covenant. And I'm going to start this off here first, okay? Incidentally, Prophecy Ministries brought out Ezekiel, the 20th chapter, cold-blooded chapter. And in that chapter, it plainly tells us that when we are gathered in the wilderness, we will at that point pass under the rod of the covenant. That has not happened yet. And I could go into that and read that, which I really want to, but I'm not going to go in there and read it because they bought that out and they made a good point. I'm going to bring out other scriptures that will line up with that concerning that. And I'm not going to share my whole arsenal because I got a whole lesson on it. And here, I'm going to tell you something about this too. I taught this lesson about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, let me tell you what happened 3 years ago. Brother Bowie did a segment. It's part of a lesson, but he did a segment because somebody asked him about it. They asked him about the wearing of fringes. And one of the things that he said, he did about 20 minutes of it. And the first time I taught it, and it's on YouTube, I put that segment in the beginning of the lesson because what he said moved me to do the lesson called "You Are Not Under the New Covenant," or "You Are Not in the New Covenant." And his 19-minute segment was the inspiration for that lesson. Because basically he said that we're in the new covenant and the law is written in our hearts and in our mind. Therefore, there's no need for fringes now. When we read about fringes in Numbers 15 chapter, I believe, and I'm not looking at it, but I'm pretty sure it says something about you wearing them throughout your generations. So if we can read about keep the Sabbath throughout your generations, but then we look at fringes and it says the exact same thing, one, I guess, is accurate and then one is not accurate. I don't know. Damn, I got to go read it. Shoot. Why did I bring that up? But I shouldn't have brought that up. Numbers 15 chapter, because I made a statement. I want to make sure. Where is it at? 15 chapter. Hold up. Wait a minute, hold on 1 second. I bet you I'm looking all over it. Okay. I'm going to tell you, I thought it was the 15th chapter. Bear with me one moment. And it should be 15, yeah. Okay, all right. I'm going to table that for now because for some reason I'm looking all over it. Sometimes that happens. But anyway, when you look at it in the book of Numbers, dang. Oh, dang. Numbers 15 chapter, verse 37. Numbers 15 chapter and verse 37. It says, and Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, people from the Spirit of YAH can read my mind right now. It's funny, but it's good. Can't get a meat. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto the children of Yashrael and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations. This is my work shirt. And yeah, this is one style of the fringes here, one style of them. You know, most of the time I have fringes sewn, you know, in the way that we wear them around. But in this instance, on my work thing, because I'm lacking a seamstress at this particular time, but that's another lesson. We wear fringes just like that there. Okay, it says, "Speak unto the children of Yahshua and bid them that they make them fringes in the borders of their garments throughout their generations, and that they put upon the fringe of the borders a ribbon of blue. And this shall be unto you for a fringe, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahuwah and do them." Oh, and I skipped over that. And garments throughout their generations. Okay. So, and it shall be unto you for a friend, that you may look upon it and remember all the commandments of Yahweh and do them, and that ye seek not after your own heart and your own eyes, after which you used to go a whoring, that you may remember and do all the commandments and be holy unto your Elohim. Okay. That's another lesson. Okay. But throughout their generations means what it's saying and says what it means. Okay. The point is that the philosophy is that since we're under the new covenant, we don't need to wear fringes anymore. Philosophy, doctrines are a horrible thing when they're used out of context. All right. Now, let me hasten this up a little bit. Are we under the new covenant? No, we're not. That Ezekiel 20 chapter shows that we're going to be gathered first. Okay. Isaiah 61. Now I'm going to move quickly, okay? Because my voice is leaving me. Isaiah 61. Let's look at Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. Let's see. Isaiah 61. Isaiah 61. I'm going to pick it up at verse 6. Isaiah 61, verse 6. But you shall be named the priests of Yahuwah. Men shall call you the ministers of our Elohim. You shall eat the riches of the Gentiles, and in their glory shall you boast yourselves. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. Because the world don't know us as being the priests of the Most High. We are in the midst of being a cursed nation. But at this time, when they look at us as being the priest, we shall no longer be a cursed nation, okay? No longer. Verse 7, for your shame you shall have double, and for confusion they shall rejoice in their portion. Therefore, in their land, they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, Yahuwah, love judgment. I hate robbery. For burnt offering, I will direct their work in truth. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them. And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles, and their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which Yahuwah had blessed. The brother at Prophecy Ministries, he asked the question, how can you be under the new covenant and be a slave at the same time? How can you be in the new covenant and be a slave at the same damn time? That question was crushing. That question hurt my heart. But you can't be that and be in the new covenant. Okay? Okay. Let's look at something else. Let's look at something else. And our congregation, they know that I say we counting down. Okay, so we're gonna count down. We count down. Number 3. Let's count it down. Jeremiah 32nd chapter. Oh, yourself. That's my reader right there. Hallelujah. It's impossible. Impossible, Aki. It's impossible. You can't be both. But listen, let's look at this here, though. Jeremiah, the 32nd chapter. Let's see. And see, the brothers at Prophecy Ministry brought up this point, but it kind of flew past them. When they read the book of Hebrews, they said the new covenant is based off of better promises. The only thing that's wrong with that is that when the new covenant is established, it ain't no promise. It is there. It's the reality, just like what we just read. I'm not under a new covenant, but I'm under a new covenant, but I know that the terms of the new covenant have not yet came to pass yet. No, that new covenant, when you're under new covenant, first of all, hold up, Jeremiah 31st chapter. Let's read a few of them terms, but we're going to read a little bit after that. Jeremiah 31st chapter. 27 verse. Behold, the days come, says Yahuwah, that I will sow the house of Yashrael and the house of Yahudah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. Yeah, that's pretty much going on right now. We are all over the place, man. You take one of them DNA tests, it's going to name you, all of us, not the Gentiles, not people of other nations. It's just us that we got, man, 40, 50, 80% of different African nations. And most of us have about 10, 12, 20% of a few Gentile nations in there. And then you got a portion of maybe a little bit of Native American in there. You know, we got all, but you go to other nations, it's like 100% British, 100% French, 100% whatever. We got a hodgepodge of everything because we have been sown among man and beast right now. But it says in 28, check out verse 28. And this shall come to pass that like as I have watched over them to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict. That sounds like my whole day today. It shall come to pass that I have watched over them. And so the Father is watching over us as we're going through all of this crap to a certain degree. But when it comes down to the blessings, he done hid his eyes from us. Whole nother lesson. I watched over them to pluck up and to break down, to throw down, to destroy and to afflict. So will I watch over them to build and to plant, says Yah. In those days, they shall say no more, the fathers have eaten sour grape and the children's teeth are set on edge, but everyone shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the days come, says Yah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yashrael and with the house of Yahudah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Mizraim, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, says Yahuwah. But this shall be the covenant I will make with the house of Yashrael after those days, says Yah. I will put my law in their inward parts. No. We are still in the dispensation that we have to choose for ourselves to have a circumcised heart and a circumcised mind, as the law states. I can get out of this seat right now and do all type of transgressions because I feel like it. But I choose to not transgress the laws of the Most High. I choose to be a new creature Brother, it means you have no choice in the matter. We're not there yet. We still have to choose. In this day and age, we still have to choose. See, religion is all of these beliefs that people have, the pie in the sky. No, the Yah's word is reality, but you have to understand it. You have to understand it as it's written. But let's see what it says here. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And just like what Prophecy Ministry brought up in a debate, brother, we're sitting here. I'm teaching y'all, or y'all teaching me what it says here. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, says Yah. For I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. Uh-oh. I want y'all to keep this in mind, because I'm going to show y'all something that's going to blow y'all mind. He says right here, at this time, I will forgive their iniquity and I will remember their sin no more. He's saying that this is a time in the future. And I'm going to show y'all something at the end of this. It's going to blow y'all mind. It's going to blow y'all mind. Y'all say, man, I read this all this time. I never thought about it like that. Watch this. But I ain't there yet. I ain't there yet. Counting this down. I said this is number 3. It's actually number 4. Forgive me, because I forgot. I wanted to give y'all this bonus New Testament verse. Okay. Oh, let me look. Skip down to Jeremiah 32nd chapter. Let's go into the next chapter and see as he talks more about this thing. Jeremiah 32 and 37. I'm going directly to the point. I wish I could read all of this. I really do, but for lack of time, I'm trying to hit it to the main point. Watch this. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries. Please pick up your Bible and read this. Jeremiah 32 and 37. Behold, I will gather them out of all countries, whither I have driven them in my anger and in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again unto this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. All of us can agree that this has not yet happened. Huh? We can agree that this hasn't happened. No debate. 38. And they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. Future tense. Future tense. When we're gathered together in a place, he said, they shall be my people, and I will be their Elohim. Verse 39, I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever. I will give them. You're not going to have a choice at this point. I will give them one heart and one way, that they may fear me forever, for the good of them and of their children after them. Verse 40, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them, that I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts, and they shall not depart from me. We have to be gathered first, y'all. Ezekiel, the 20th chapter, the brothers showed that when he gave them that, but, I don't, whatever. No, we just read here in Jeremiah the same thing. The gathering has to take place first. Okay, at least we make the choice during our life to accept the law, then the law will be put in us after the resurrection. Oh, man. It's in that order. It's in that order. We're not dealing with opinion. We're dealing with what we read according to Scripture. The law is not in our hearts and in our minds unless we put it there. unless we make the choice to put it there. All right. So that was Jeremiah, the 32nd chapter. Man, there's so much more in this. So much more in this. Brother, oh man, come on. If you read Jeremiah 31 straight through into Jeremiah 33, ain't no question. No question. I'm going somewhere else. Let's go into the valley of the dry bones. Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Ezekiel 37th chapter. Ezekiel 37th chapter, y'all. Let's look at that. And again, I wish I could read all this. I'm not. So I'm going to go toward the end of this. Let's pick it up at verse 19. If you're an Israelite, you should know everything that came before this in the valley of the dry bones. But we in 37. Dang, wait a minute. I done made the mistake of going in the 36th chapter, and man. I want to read it so bad, but I ain't. Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, though. Pick it up. I'm going to pick it up at verse 20. Check this out. Ezekiel 37:20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And say unto them, thus says Yahuwah Elohim, behold, I will take the children of Yashrael from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Yashrael, and one king shall be king to them all. And they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling place wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their Elohim. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgment, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob, my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Verse 26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. Okay, so we see that there. Now, oh man, I almost forgot to read this. I apologize. I almost forgot to read this. Let's go into the book of Daniel, because this is very important here. Very important. Daniel, the 9th chapter. I'm going to show y'all something very important. Show y'all something here. Oh, yeah. That's right, yourself. I peeped that. That Ezekiel 36. Bro, that's some hardcore stuff right there. But anyway, I can't give it all, though. But Daniel, the 9th chapter, y'all. Daniel, 9th chapter. I want y'all to see this for a second. Daniel, go directly to the point. Daniel 9:24. It says this. 70 weeks are determined upon thy people and upon the holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity. I think they touched on this at that debate. But let's not sleep on what the word is saying. To make an end of sins. Sins are not ended. Just so you know, just in case you have not looked at the news or picked up a newspaper, whatever, I just want to throw something out there. Sins have not ended. To make an end of sins, and to make reconciliation for iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness. We literally read these things in previous chapters, knowing that it's talking about in the end time in the kingdom. But this is what he's talking about right here concerning this 70-week prophecy. And to seal up the vision and prophecy and to anoint the most holy. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore, to build Jerusalem unto the Messiah the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. 7 weeks. 7 weeks. 7 times 7 years is 49 years. That's your 7 weeks. And then it's 62 weeks. I think that's like 384 years or something like that, I believe. No, 62 times 7. That'll be 400 and something years. I can do the math. Anyway, it's 484 or something like that. Anyway, it separates 49 years, 7 weeks, from the 484 years. Put them together and it comes to 69 weeks. Okay? If you don't understand what I'm saying, stop, pause, go back and play it back. It'll make sense to you. But it separates 69 weeks by two parts. 7 weeks and what did it say? And 7 weeks and 62 weeks, 62. 7, 62. Total 69 weeks. Okay? Watch this. Know therefore and understand that from the going forth of the commandment to restore and to build Jerusalem to the Messiah, the Prince shall be 7 weeks and 62 weeks. The street shall be built again and the wall even in troublous times. And so that the street being built is the 49 weeks. Jerusalem being built. The temple that was built, it says in scripture, in the book of John, I think it said it took them 7 years or something like that to build it. That is your 7 weeks. But it wasn't just the temple, it was the entire city that was rebuilt at that time. 7 weeks. Okay. It said, and after 62 weeks, 62 weeks, 62 weeks. That's the second part of the 69 weeks, right? Shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people, the prince that shall come, shall destroy the city and sanctuary, and the end there shall be with the flood, and until the end of the war, desolation shall determine. So it's talking about when the Messiah came, 62 weeks after Jerusalem was built, in them 7 weeks. And I can get into the math and show you the actual countdown from the commandment to go for and build Jerusalem that was made by the Medo-Persian king, Cyrus, all the way up until that time, 484 years, up until that time that the Messiah came and was cut off, not for himself. In my book, The Gospel Raw, Uncut, and Unheard, I broke that down way back in 1999, okay? But I'm trying to get to a point here. Verse 27, and he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. That 1 week, this is the 70th week, the last week. He shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. Oh, wait a minute. I'm reading a little bit too fast here. The Messiah, when he came, he did not make a covenant. He did not. The only thing that he did concerning the covenant was he confirmed the covenant. His coming 2,000 years ago and during his death and all his teaching and all that was a confirmation of the covenant. He didn't make no covenant. He didn't bring us into the new covenant. He confirmed something that was already spoken about. Here he comes during that time frame, and he confirms the covenant for many for 1 week. Oh, wait a minute, slow down, slow down. And then and in the midst of the week, he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. In the midst of this week, 7 years, he ministered for 3.5 years. He ministered for 3.5 years. In the midst of the week, this is a double prophecy, y'all. Double prophecy, because he literally died in the midst of a literal week, but also it was the middle of the 7 year, 3.5 year. What happened again? And he should confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of that same week, 3.5 years, he shall cause the sacrifice and oblation to cease, and for the overspread of the abomination make it desolate. So he still have 3.5 years to do what? Confirm the covenant, which is where, when you go into Ezekiel 20th chapter, you will see that the second half of that 3.5 weeks, us being gathered in the wilderness, us passing under the rod of the covenant. That has not happened yet. The middle of the week has been suspended. We're still in the midst of that week. Right now, we're still in the midst of that week. The wilderness experience is a 3.5 year time frame. 40 and 2 months, 1,260 days. That is the second half of that last week. Those of you who are live right now as I'm giving this, please tell me if what I'm saying is over your head, if what I'm saying is confusing. Please share this with me. He shall confirm the covenant with many for how long? 1 week. We still ain't got to the end of that week yet, because he was cut off in the midst of the week. He was cut off in the midst of the week. So he has to come back and continue that confirmation until we do what? Be gathered and pass under the rod of the covenant, as is mentioned in Ezekiel 20th chapter and these other places that I done shared. Number 2, real quick. Number 2, Hosea, the 2nd chapter. Hosea's 2nd chapter. And I'm going to say this too while I'm thinking about it. Comment on the video. People might think I be deleting comments, because on a lot of our videos, people don't dare watch it, but they don't share comments or whatever. And I'm just asking that you comment or whatever, whether it be good, bad, or whatever. Comment on the video. It's all good. Like the video. For those who are new here, subscribe to our video. We're live every Shabbat. Hosea's 2nd chapter. Hosea's 2nd chapter. This is number 2, y'all. Got one more to go after this. Number 2. Hosea 2nd chapter. Hosea 2nd chapter. Pick it up in the middle of a thought. 14th verse. You can read the rest on your own. 14th verse. Hosea 2:14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness. Into the wilderness. Dang. Speaking of which, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her. And I will give her vineyards from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope, and she shall sing there as in the days of her youth, and as in the days when she came up out of the land of Mizraim. And it shall be at that day, says Yah, that thou shalt call me Isha, and shall call me no more Be'elah. In another place, I think we might read this. I'm not sure. I might have left this out. He says, in that day, I'm going to take the names of Baalim out of their mouths. Jesus is one of those names of Baalim. I'm taking that out of their mouths. Calling me after the name of some other people's pagan god. They shall no more call me Baalah in that day, Baalim. Oh, I'm sorry. It was the next verse. I quoted the next verse. I forgot it was there. It says, "And shall call me no more Baalah," verse 17, "for I will take away the names, plural, the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field and with the fowls of heaven and with the creeping things of the ground. I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth and will make them to lie down safely." So the Father is coming, Yahshua the Son is coming back to confirm the covenant, and the covenant will be made with us. Let's see what else it says here. Verse 19, "And I will betroth thee unto me forever. Yea, I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know Yahuwah." That betrothing all in itself is the making of a covenant. That betrothing is the new covenant. That's what betrothing is. It's a covenant. Verse 21, "This shall come to pass in that day, I will hear, says Yahuwah, I will hear the heavens, and they shall hear the earth. And the earth shall hear the corn and wine and oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my Elohim." Okay. I can read some more here, but I'm trying to. Okay. Here's the last little piece that I'm going to bring for you to consider. Romans 11 chapter. As we say in the class, let's let your brother get a little bit of this. Romans 11 chapter. Let's look at something real quick. I'm going to go towards the end of this. I ain't even going to read it from the beginning. Romans 11 chapter. Well, I want this. Oh, pick it up at verse 25. Read everything before that on your own time. I don't want to get deep into that. I'm going to go directly to the point. Verse 25. "For I would not, brethren, that you should be ignorant of this mystery, lest you should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Yashrael until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in. And so all Yashrael shall be saved, as it is written." And notice he's speaking it from a prophetic dynamic. Now, Yahshua is sitting on the right hand of the Father at this point. But he says, so all Yashrael shall be saved, as is written. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Yaakov. We literally read this earlier. And when all ungodliness is turned away from Yaakov, that's the new covenant. We won't be able to sin anymore because his laws will be in our hearts and in our minds. But he first will do what? And we literally read this earlier. And I think that was I believe that was in Isaiah 61 when we was in there. We read this. I told y'all to remember this because I'm going to read y'all something that's going to blow y'all mind. This is what I was talking about. So all Israel shall be saved. So all Israel shall be saved that is written. There shall, Twin Flame, he says, what is it? Yes, you'll come back with Yah from Genesis to Malachi. Let me just throw this out here. You said from Genesis to Malachi. When you read the prophecies concerning Yahshua from an end time dynamic, my mind is racing. Isaiah 53 tells us about him being cut off, but not for himself, him being cut off for the sins of the people. And it talks about him coming back. He shall see his seed. You're going to read about that and all the things that's going to be given to him at that particular time. When you read prophecies, do this. Search the term, the branch. You'll read about the branch in Ezekiel. You'll read about the branch in Jeremiah. And you might read about the branch in Isaiah. But even if you don't read about the branch, you will read about the prophecies concerning the one that we know as the son coming back. That's the branch. Oh, and in Zechariah, you read about the branch. That is the one that is coming with the Father there, according to prophecies. Okay. Yahshua had no seed. Seeds are children. Let me just put it like this. Let me ask you this question. In the New Testament writings, I just want you to show me, and I'm not saying it's not there, but I want you to show me specifically concerning that. And I'm not going to get too deep off into this, but that seed, just so I don't get deep into that, seed could also have been from a spiritual dynamic when you read it in Isaiah, the 53rd chapter. You say it doesn't say Yahshua is the branch. Well, guess what? You say, I'm saying he is, but guess what though? If Yahshua is not the branch, then know for certainty that there is a branch of David that's gonna fulfill that's written of him in those prophecies. Okay, so that is where so if you don't believe that that's Yahshua, then that's on you. I believe and understand that to be. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact it's Yahshua because the scriptures let us know concerning the two specific comings. Okay, him coming to die for the sins of the people and him coming to rule on the throne of David. Okay, so again, this comes from understanding. So if you don't believe that's Yahshua, that's fulfilling these prophecies concerning the one that the Father's going to send to first die for the people and then to come back and sit on the throne of David, then no one understands that prophecies absolutely talk about the branch. Whoever you think it is definitely an entity that is coming back to fulfill these things. Okay, I'll just leave that there and let you figure it out on your own time. Oh, no man can die for the sins of another man. I gave you Isaiah 53. We read Daniel the 9th chapter that clearly showed you prophetically that that's going to happen. I don't know what else to do concerning your thoughts concerning that. Okay, but anyway, let's finish this up. This Romans the 11th chapter. It says 11 and 26. And so all Israel shall be saved, as is written. There shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. 27, for this is my covenant unto them when I shall take away their sins. So my point is that Paul is letting you know that this is future. Even as the way he says here, he didn't say that it came to take away your sins. He said, for this is my covenant to them when I shall take away their sins. Okay. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that Paul is saying something that the prophets totally agree, because the taking away of the sins is actually at the second coming when we're gathered into the kingdom and into the new covenant. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to let that be that. And for those that are watching this video after this live, I was kind of addressing a brother or sister, I don't know, that was asking that I guess they don't believe that Yahshua is the one that's going to be fulfilling these things. But this is my and they're asking questions concerning doubting whether or not that Yah can send someone to forgive our sins, when we clearly read scripture's prophecy concerning that. So that's the reason why it might sound a little bit confusing. I'm trying to address somebody there. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to end it here. It's an hour and 42 minutes. Before I started this video, I thought it would be about 30 minutes, but you know, the Spirit do what it want to do. For those of you who stayed up until this time, hallelujah, I pray that the Father can give all of us. See, I'm not haughty with my understanding. All of us can be edified in the word of the Most High. So again, check us out at the Spirit of YAH on Shabbat, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you're in the Jacksonville, Florida area, can get to Jacksonville, Florida area, you are invited to walk into the place and build with us as we rejoice and praise the Most High. So until that time, y'all, I'm going to bid you guys good night, and I hope to see you guys soon. Shalom.